Good morning, Siouxland. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Lohr, and on today's segment of Classroom 9, I'm going to teach you all about atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is the amount of weight of air molecules pressing down on the Earth. Now, you don't typically feel this pressure, but you can in a sense, and I will touch on that in just a moment. Atmospheric pressure is also known as high pressure and low pressure, and high pressure is always associated with a blue-colored H, while low pressure is always associated with a red-colored L. Starting with high pressure, winds spiral clockwise away from the center of a high-pressure system. Winds will always go from high pressure to low pressure, and they always spin in a clockwise rotation out of the high-pressure system. You can see that little animation here with these arrows going around in a clockwise rotation. So as they spiral out of the high-pressure system, they spiral into the low-pressure system. With the high-pressure system, air is forced down to the surface, which creates evaporation. Now, that is important to know when we get to low pressure. Now, with high pressure, we are typically seeing nicer weather. So we usually see sunshine, maybe some clouds out there, but really not too much. And we usually see dry weather out there. High-pressure systems are typically the nicer systems that we deal with. Now, as we go to low pressure system, as I mentioned, those winds spiral from high pressure to low pressure. So when they go from high pressure in a clockwise rotation out of the system, they spiral in a counterclockwise rotation into the low pressure system. And again, you can see that here with this little animated low pressure with the arrows spinning around it in a counterclockwise rotation. Now, I mentioned with high pressure, you have evaporation process, but with low pressure, you have air that's forced upwards, and that condenses water vapor in the air, and eventually you get some sort of precipitation, whether that be rain or snow. And with that, low pressure systems are typically associated with inclement weather. Now, that could be just some showers, it could be some snow showers in the winter, or it could be as much as some thunderstorms in the area. Now, earlier I mentioned that you don't typically feel high pressure, you don't feel that pressure pressing down on the Earth. But sometimes in a way you can, especially when we get a low pressure system to move through the area. As pressure drops, sometimes you can get things like a headache, or those of you that have parents that might have arthritis, sometimes that arthritis pain will flare up, and that is because of the pressure change, and that is because that air is being pressed down on us a little bit stronger than it would be with a high pressure system. And a good representation of a low pressure system would be an example of a tornado, or a bigger example would be the consideration of a hurricane along the coastal regions. A hurricane in the center of the eye is the center of the low pressure system, and those winds of the hurricane and the storm all spin in a counterclockwise rotation. For more little lessons like this, as well as fun little weather-related experiments, head over to SiouxlandProud.com, find the Weather tab, and click on Classroom 9.